everyone. Welcome to another episode of 51 Stories of Emotional Wellbeing with Emotional Ability Resources. Today, I have with me Aishwarya Sashikanth, a management professional with over 15 years of experience in corporate strategy, business planning, marketing, and communications. She is very passionate about diversity and inclusion, and she ensures that there is a lot of inclusivity at her workplace. She's married with two kids and she's driven by people's process and performance. So, welcome to the show, Aishwarya.
Thank you so much, Pragati. It's nice to talk to you again. Look forward to a very interesting conversation, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of learning for me as well.
Thank you, Aishwarya. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. How has Aishwarya become the woman that we know of as today? You've been with Standard Chartered now for 4 years. So, as a young girl, did you see yourself here? And what has your journey been like? I would love to know.
Okay, so a bit about my background. I'm the only child to my parents. So, the typical single child syndrome, a pampered kid, but within limits, I would say. So, regarding my career, I don't think I had planned that I had to be a banker or that I had to be a software engineer or anything. I come from a commerce background. So things happened. I mean, I really did not think that I had to do this. I would rather say that I was not influenced by my peers, so there was no peer pressure, and I'm fortunate that my parents allowed me to pursue what I wanted. So I was always interested in the commerce stream, so I opted for commerce, and then I did my bachelor's in commerce, and then I went on to do my MBA again. So my passion is more towards people. So I my career also is more related to people, employees. How do you treat them, and how do you engage with them, and it's more about their welfare that I'm focusing on in the workplace. So that's how my journey has been. And my childhood has been very, very normal, and there's nothing extraordinary to talk. It's a regular middle class childhood that I had. And yeah, I think that's about it.
So that's interesting, And any struggles that you faced as a young child that you remember, which seemed really difficult?
uh, okay, if I have to say struggles, I personally don't think I struggled with anything as such. I was pretty good at studies, so I didn't have a challenge there. And being a single child, obviously the attention was always on me, so I was not deprived of attention. I had my own share of fun and memories that I had. I really don't think I struggled with anything as such. It was pretty smooth, and you know, it's been a very, very smooth, right, enjoyable childhood.
So when you look back on childhood, you realize that you haven't struggled with anything, but any challenges that you faced, and of course, those days I know children didn't really talk about being stressed out, but anything that you feel was not as comfortable for you as you would have liked.
Okay, so I mean, now that you ask this way, I think if I were to actually point out a specific area, then I would probably say that the conversations that we have with our parents. I think now it is more open, and we are more broad-minded, and we are able to have those conversations easily. But back then, those kind of conversations were never easy. So probably that is something that maybe was a struggle. But then it is not that we did not have a good rapport relationship. But then there were certain topics that were always taboo, and it was not an easy conversation that our parents could have with us. I think it has got to do more with that generation than us, but that gap was always there. So I think,
I
it's not
think
a struggle per se, but then probably, a challenge that, I could say.
I think that's a very nice point you've got, because a lot of times people today, and especially like you have a teenager now, and a lot of conversations now flow a lot more easily than it did with our parents. So, can you think of a couple of topics that you talk about very freely with your children and which you feel you could never even think of talking about with your parents?
Oh, there are many, many that I can talk about, right now my son, is a teenager. He's in class 10. So he's going through the typical, hormonal changes that happens in a teenage boy. So, I mean, I don't have a sibling, so I'm not able to relate to how a teenage boy behaves. But then, my husband is there to tell me that, to see, this is normal. This is how, boys behave at this age. So you don't have to worry about it. Just go talk openly to him. It's okay. He will understand. He actually knows more than what you think, he knows. So just be open, talk whatever is on your mind, and it's easy to get, learn things from them when you are open. So I think that is something that I think is very has changed now. I can have conversations about, his school, his friends, maybe his first crush, or maybe a girlfriend. All those conversations are very, very easy, and it was not the way back then. So back then, we used to even think twice about, even uttering a classmate's name, if he were a boy. So coming from that kind of a background, I think things have evolved, and things are much easier now to talk. And I think, even kids have matured way much more than what we were, because of all the exposure that they have, and they are also equally open to come and talk to us about whatever, problems or challenges that they are facing. So yeah, that way I think, it's very easy to have those conversations again about, women's menstrual cycle and all that. Pretty open. I mean, we keep the communication channels open with both our kids. I have a daughter who's 10 years old, so even she understands these things. It, it's easy for us to, talk these things at home, because we ensure that, we have an environment that encourages them to come and, talk freely to their parents. So we don't provide any inhibitions when they come to us. So I think that helps.
I think that's very well put, because this is where a lot of parenting struggles that I feel parents have, because, we've grown up differently and perhaps it didn't seem like a struggle, but because it was the norm, nobody was talking about things to their parents. So it just seemed the norm, okay, that's like a closed door, no trespassing there. What's happening with friends, it just stays in school or out of bounds from home, and now with global exposure and with the times that have changed, I think openness with parenting is that one thing which helps bridge the gap with children.
Yeah.
Now, you love working with people at your workplace. So, how do you help people achieve mental well being at the workplace? Or what are some of the struggles that people come to you with that you help them cope up with?
Okay, so my role, although I would like to, do more of a mental health, you know, counseling kind of a thing. In fact, I have enrolled for one of these sessions at workplace. In my role, I kind of, see how can I make the employees happy in the workplace. What kind of an experience can we give them? How do we, enhance their experience while they are at work? So that is a kind of, space that I work on. So I try and see, if there is an issue in terms of, people coming to work, or it could be something as simple as a seating arrangement. If people, the moment they get into work and they don't find, a chair to sit, or a meeting room, they enter into a meeting room, the meeting room is full, they don't find enough space to sit. How do we address those kind of things? How do we foresee such instances, and how do we proactively address those kind of issues? And again, the other, this is a more of a very, what do I say, a tactical kind of a, engagement, but the more strategic engagement would be to, how do we keep them happy? What kind of recognition are people looking for when they come and work in the organization? What kind of rewards are they looking for? Are they looking only for monetary rewards, or are they looking for non-monetary rewards? What keeps them motivated, what keeps them going, and how can we identify those triggers, and how can we make them happy? How can we keep them satisfied? And not only just the employees, how can we also take care of their families?
Mhm.
So those are the things that I work on.
So I think that's really brilliant, because how what you are talking about is helping them identify their emotional ability resources so that their workplace productivity goes up. They feel nurtured, they feel motivated to put in good work and also have that work-life balance. So when they go back home, they feel as though, yes, they have worked hard, but the company is also bothered about their well-being in a more holistic sense. That's what I'm hearing when I talk to you.
Yes,
So, can you
absolutely.
tell us a little bit more about what specific things that you do, or your organization does, if you want to talk about it, to make them feel that? Because, a lot of people, when we talk about organizational behavior, people struggle being understood at their workplace. And like you very rightly said, it may be a very small thing, like finding a chair to sit on or a meeting room which is not available. Now, you have a client meeting and you don't have a meeting room. You obviously can't tell a client that. It may sound very small, but actually the generating of your business is dependent on a proper meeting room where you're not rushed. So, these are very small things, but like I've studied in occupational health psychology, these little things about where you are comfortable in your workplace, where you are happy, actually is what is very important. So while they're not directly mental health related, but if nobody is looking after them, they lead to mental health issues. So from you, they come to me directly without really realizing it.
And that's why we try and address them in the workplace itself. We try
Absolutely.
and make it as much enjoyable for them as much as we can.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you do which you feel enhances their emotional ability and makes them feel happier at work?
So, see, as an organization, we do a lot of, now we've just come out of the pandemic mode.
Mhm.
So, over the past couple of years, we have done almost all these sessions virtually, but we have had, we have hosted a lot of sessions where we have, gotten doctors to come and talk about work-life balance, to
Mhm.
talk about, mental health. Mental health is, in fact, one of a very important focus area in the organization. So we do ensure that we have all the resources within the organization that can take care of our employees mental well-being. So we host sessions related to mental health, and then we to make it a little more interesting, we do Zumba sessions. It's also taking care about the physical health. So we do those sessions, and then we also organize some fun activities, just to break the monotony. So in between, in a midweek, we host a series of games, that just takes their mind off work for some time. They can come, relax, play for a while, interact with the other colleagues. So there are many things that we are doing as an organization to keep our employees happy. Yes, there are instances where some things don't click, but then obviously, given the size of the organization, it is difficult to keep everybody happy. So we do try and see how best we can keep our people motivated, as well as content. I think that is the idea behind all our efforts.
I think that's $1 million strategy, and you have cracked it. It sounds like it's. I think that's just awesome. And whatever you do, not everybody will be happy is a very pertinent point. Because most of us we feel everybody will like it, and as we know, we are not sheep. We all don't like the same things. So by and large, yes, people would. So that's very well put. How do you take care of yourself and your own emotional ability on a daily basis? I would love to know.
Okay, so I am generally a very positive person. I kind of go with the flow. It's not that I don't pressurize myself to say that, okay, by this age I need to achieve this, I need to earn so much, I need to reach this level in my career. I've never been that kind of a person. So in fact, in one of my earlier sessions also, I had said, to me, my measure of success is happiness to me. That is the definition that I have for myself. That's the mantra that I follow. you know how, what does success mean to you? Is, to me, it is, if you are happy in the moment, at that particular moment, then I think you are successful. So that's the way I look at things. So having said that, my mental health, I generally don't get worked up easily, but at times I do get worried when I think about my kids, about their health, about their career, their future. I get worked up, but then I also then talk to myself saying that okay, it's okay, things will eventually fall in place, and there's no need to worry. You just take things slowly. And apart from that, I have my own set of friends and family, and I ensure I'm in constant touch with them, and I talk to them regularly. I share whatever it is that is keeping me awake. I share with them. I get solutions from them. So I think it's important that all of us have a social circle. At least I don't know. It could be your family, it could be your spouse, it could be your friends, or even your colleagues. But then it's important for you to have that network and be in constant touch with them, who understand your situation, or who are in the similar situation, so that they can provide you with suggestions and advice. So I think all these support systems keep me sane and happy.
I like that, because see, these are the simplest of things which are available to most of us, but most of us think it's rocket science which is going to make us feel better, or, some mantra from heaven, or some kind of professional help that we need. Of course, it does when there are difficult situations, but very rightly, like you've pointed out, for that zone of emotional well being to be a part of our life, it's a simple decision to be happy. Okay, look, I want to be happy. And it sounds very simple, but most of us are so busy cribbing about what's not working that we forget to decide to be happy because, something or the other, like for all of us, and that's what human life is all about, something or the other just doesn't work, on a regular basis. Something or the other goes on. And it's like the missing tile syndrome that we have. That one thing that doesn't work that goes on and on and on. And very rightly, like you pointed out, especially with children in middle school or high school, that becomes a burning issue on every parent's mind. And sometimes that decision to be happy is not made. I'm not saying whether you worry or don't worry, that's a separate conversation altogether. But that simple decision to be happy sometimes is all that's required to experience emotional well-being on a regular basis. Like we bathe daily. We live in a tropical country, you are in a tropical place, so we just bathe daily. It doesn't matter whether you're in an air conditioned office or you've commuted outside. You just do it because we're quite confident that that will take care of our physical hygiene, right?
I think, and it's not easy also, because there are times when I do worry myself sick, saying, oh, what do I do, what will happen? And these are all imaginary situations. So because you worry about the future and you don't know what's going to happen, you tend to kind of amplify it in your mind to say it's going to be the worst. You imagine the worst always. So I think, and then again, I console myself, I talk to myself saying, okay, see, it's not that bad. Things cannot go that bad. I advise myself. So I think I am my first counselor. So then I keep telling myself, okay, calm down, you don't have to worry, things will fall in place, you just need to relax. So it's a momentary thing. That moment you tend to worry a bit, and then once you realize that yes, it's okay, I think more important than bouncing back, you have to realize that it's okay to worry. It's very difficult not to worry at all. So you have to first accept to say that it's okay to worry, it's okay to get angry, it's okay to feel sad. All these are emotions, and you should first learn to acknowledge them and accept them. Then it becomes easier to overcome them. It's okay to cry. So I do, if I cry, yeah, I cry, it's fine. But then I know, okay, I just cried a bit, for a few moments, and then I overcame, so it's fine. I think acceptance that it's okay to go through all these emotions and feel them, I think that comes first, and then once you accept it, it becomes easier to overcome them.
I think that's a very pertinent point. And, we have very widely evidenced techniques like CBT. Most of the time, we are not willing to accept that I'm sad, or we are not willing to accept that, yeah, I'm feeling miserable. Sometimes just accepting helps us to just go beyond it or to overcome it, or just let it pass, very, very rightly said. It's like if it's raining, if I don't have an umbrella, I need to stay indoors or unless and until I'm in a portico. But if we acknowledge, if we say, no, 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 it's not raining, we are bound to get wet. So very well put, So any issues or anything that you have overcome successfully in the last few years or as an adult that you feel, which will be inspiring to others that you want to share about, something that you were thinking about and, which was an issue, but now when you look back, you realize, hey, I overcame it so well, which you feel will inspire others. I would love for you to share.
Hmm. Okay, I'm not able to put a finger and say that this was but one particular incident that I came across. But what I have always felt is that if you decide to do something, if you choose to do something, and if you're very very sure about it, then you will find ways to ensure it is done. Now let's take for the example the I course that we did. Now before I enrolled, I was in I was not too sure if I could manage it, because I was having a full time job, and then we were in a pandemic situation, so I had to manage house, and then kids were also at home. So there were too many factors to consider before I chose to do it. But then I said, no, this is something that I've been wanting for a very long time. And I said, come what may, I am doing it. And then I discussed it with my husband, I discussed it with my kids and my in-laws, on my support system essentially. So I explained it to them that, see, this is something that I really really want to do, and I need all your support for me to successfully go through this whole process. So are you guys with me in it? They were all absolutely happy, they were totally okay with it, and then they were like fully supportive of my decision to go ahead. And I think that has helped me to complete it more successfully. So the only advice that or experience that I can share is that whatever be it you choose to do, and if you are passionate and sure about going ahead with it, then I think you will find ways to ensure it is done.
Yeah, and that's so, so very true. A lot of times we have excuses about why something can't be done. But sometimes when we decide that yes, it has to be done, we find a way, whether we have to take in support of others who will be able to help us carry on that decision. And sometimes it's just a matter of effective communication. We are so
Sure.
sure that the other people will say no that sometimes we don't even attempt. And yeah, so very, very, very rightly said that. Any books or any movies that have inspired you to choose happiness as your way of life? I would love to know.
I I read a lot of books, but they're mostly fiction, so I can't pinpoint and say that this one book inspired me, or I am a very very emotional person, so I connect with emotions very easily. So and I cry very easily. So any any sentiment that I come across in a book or in a movie, I cry very easily. So I just cannot say that this movie inspired me or that, but I am generally a happy person. So that's who I am. I choose happiness at the end of the day. So I think that's what it is.
I like that. I choose happiness at the end of the day. And most of us, if we choose it, we find a way to do it. Most of us actually don't choose it. We just don't choose it. And thank you for, really putting it so simply, where it's not that, as we know, part of being human is struggles. It is a seesaw of things which go our way and which don't go our way. But if we do realize that, yes, I need to acknowledge, I need to accept that I'm feeling in a particular way, then it becomes easier to focus on happiness. Otherwise, we are so busy denying, no, I'm not miserable, I'm not sad, that there's just more effort put in to repress those feelings than to actually acknowledge what we want to feel. So thank you for
Things are
sharing
much
that.
simpler when we accept them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it sounds very simple. And the reason why I really like these conversations is sometimes it is as simple as that, as a decision. And nobody has a magic wand, not a psychologist, not a TV channel, nothing. But it's a simple decision that each one of us can make day after day to just be happy. If we make that decision, we'll find a way. So thank you for sharing such an important message, and you've said it so simply and so effectively. I know it's going to inspire many, many people. So, any last words before we sign off, Aishwarya? I would love to hear from you.
I think I have already shared whatever experiences, whatever journey that I have been. I think as women, what we need to be is more assertive.
Mhm.
Be very clear in what we want, and express it. I think that is more important. It's not enough if we just know what we want. It's also equally important to communicate it to people around us, to say that yes, this is what I want, this is who I am, and this is how I would like to be accepted. So I think that it's important to be assertive in that sense, and go for it. And more importantly, I think it's also important to teach our children to be the same, and to for the next generation also to be accepting of all kinds of people. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm very, very passionate about diversity and inclusion. I think it's important for people to accept others the way they are, irrespective of their gender, race, creed, sexual preferences. I think that the world is moving towards that, and it's very important for us to accept people the way they are. For us to be more happy, and for the whole world also to be a better place to live. I think that is what is important.
Thank you so much. It's just been wonderful chatting with you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Pragati. It was great catching up with you.
Likewise, likewise.
Thank you.